Thank you, Deep-Roy Clough. Since devolution, Welsh Labour has used the education system in Wales as a vehicle to enact and press forward with their ludicrous socialist policies. They have set about changing an educational ethos that was once one of the best in the United Kingdom to one that is now one of the worst in Europe. They have removed national and exam-focused education in favour of locally developed and holistic education, prioritising well-being and inclusion over standards of excellence and accountability. The simple truth is that this socialist experiment has failed. Wales is the laughingstock of the UK in terms of educational provision. Education standards have declined ever since Welsh Labour took control of it in 1999. And it's the people of Wales who ultimately suffer for this. Less able to compete for the best universities, less able to compete for jobs. Lower skills and qualifications mean they have fewer prospects and ultimately fewer opportunities in life. Poverty cannot explain why education standards are so poor. Disadvantaged pupils in England outperform the average Welsh learner, even in cities with comparable poverty levels. This Welsh Labour government has championed progressive reforms like the curriculum for Wales, but have not bothered to match these reforms with sufficient funding for training, implementation, or even infrastructure. However, what I find the most incredible part of all this is the Welsh Labour government honestly believes that they're doing a good job. No doubt we will hear from them at the end of this debate how it isn't their fault, and it's the fault of 14 years of Conservative government. But let me remind members here, if spending on devolved functions was completely equalised between the four nations of the UK, on a per-person basis, spending would fall by 16% in Wales. Ultimately, our union dividend pays dividends. We should never forget that it was Welsh Labour who negotiated the Barnett floor with the UK government to ensure Wales receives at least 115% of equivalent English spending per capita. Now, we know that this floor has never had to kick in because the current settlement gives us 120%. We get more than our English counterparts. So I generally have to ask, if the Welsh government thinks that even more money is needed, why have they never presented the evidence and negotiated for this when they've had the opportunity? They complain about a lack of funding, but can only really blame themselves. Education standards in Wales are at an all-time low, and the truth is, as the polls show, people in Wales simply can't stomach Welsh Labour and this ongoing cacistocracy any longer. Compared to all UK nations, we have reported worst access to basic resources, such as books and IT facilities. We have some of the biggest rises in teacher stress and sector abandonment. And our head teachers are under the highest reported pressure to cut staff, reduce support services, and delay maintenance to keep within budget when compared to their UK colleagues. This Welsh Labour government's failure lies not just in the amount of funding it has allocated, but in its inability to shield schools from escalating costs, support councils adequately, and ensure reforms are properly resourced. The result is a system under strain, with vulnerable students and staff bearing the full brunt. This petition, Deep-Roy Clough, clearly comes from a growing concern that vulnerable pupils, especially those with additional learning needs, will be the ones who disproportionately bear that brunt and cost. I fully support ALN Reform Wales in calling on the Welsh Government to protect school funding. Cuts to funding in this area will be devastating for children with additional learning needs, and its short-sightedness is all too plain to see. But at a decent standard of education and support, where does that leave people? It leaves them struggling to find employment, struggling to be a part of society, and struggling to stay out of poverty. I would urge members here to support this petition, and I would urge this Welsh Labour government to intervene and ensure our education funding is secured for future generations. Thank you.